After a rattlesnake attempts to destroy a small town in the desert, using his tail that is cuffed up by a machine gun, a small chameleon with just a rifle gathers all his courage to attempt to stop the deadly snake from destroying the town, with all the people's hope towards him. Will he be able to fight with the dangerous snake or die trying? Hey, welcome to General Recap, and today I am going to recap a 2021 movie named Rango, so sit back and relax as we recap this film. In the back of a small car in a small aquarium resides a small chameleon named Rango. The only living creature in his environment. Rango has fancied himself as an actor, with several inanimate objects as his friends and fellow thespians. In his self-contained world, Rango's friends tell him that even though he fancies himself a hero, he needs a challenge. The world goes awry when something in the road causes the car to jolt, and the chameleon and his aquarium fly out the back of the vehicle he's in, shattering to the ground. Getting up, the chameleon sees an armadillo in the road, its midsection squashed in by a tire. The creature asks for help to get to the other side, and the chameleon assists. Not being used to the heat, the chameleon asks the armadillo where he can find water. The creature tells him he can find it in dirt, a day's journey away. The chameleon follows his shadow through the desert, but is almost eaten by a hawk. Taking refuge in a storm drain, the chameleon wakes the next morning to a small rush of water that quickly evaporates in the sun. Close by, he comes across a female lizard named Beans, Isla Fisher. Though at first hostile, Beans gives the chameleon a ride into town. The chameleon attempts to blend in with the locals and makes his way to a nearby saloon. Going in, he arouses the suspicion of almost everyone in the bar. He goes to the bar counter and politely asks for water, but everyone in the bar loudly laugh at him because he asked for water while in that town there was drought. Several asked to know who he is and even tried to intimidate him, and after seeing the word Rango on a bottle of cactus juice, the chameleon claims that his name is Rango. Rango then attempts to spin a story that makes him seem like a hero. When someone asks if he killed some outlaws known as the Jenkins brothers, Rango claims to have done it with just one bullet and even exaggerated until everyone fears him. As he talks, a couple of outlaws enter the room, led by a lizard named Bad Bill. Everyone in the saloon was scared of the gang, and they all look towards Rango cause of his story. Rango attempts to act intimidating before the leader of the gang named Bill. He takes his cigarette and swallows it, then drinks cactus juice and burns his face with his buff. He tries to clean him up, but instead rouses Bill's ire, leading to the two having a showdown in the middle of the town. During the showdown, Rango thinks he's scared off Bad Bill and his boys when they run away, only to realize the hawk he outwitted before is right behind him. Rango then goes running through the town. He hides inside the bathroom, but the hawk slashes it to pieces with its sharp claws. Rango runs off, tries to trick the hawk, but the hawk keeps on chasing him, destroying everything it comes across, with the final events looking as if Rango was chasing the hawk before finally killing him by dropping the town's water tower on it. While some rejoice at the death of the hawk, several make mention that with the hawk's death, a desperado by the name of Rattlesnake Jake could very well return to town. However, Rango casually explains that he isn't afraid and that he and Jake are brothers. Rango is then brought before the town's mayor, Ned Beatty, an old turtle who claims that Rango has given the townspeople hope. Rango is then made the town sheriff. Shortly thereafter, Rango watches perplexed as the townsfolk take part in a strange ritual in which they leave dirt and head towards a spigot in the desert. The townspeople seek salvation from the spigot, but no water materializes. The townsfolk have been hard up for water for some time, and after the mayor admits sacrifices will need to be made, Beans steps forward, accusing the mayor of somehow being behind their water shortage. It soon becomes clear that the town's bank is also short on water, and the reserves in the vault only has enough water for 5 more days. Rango attempts to quell the townsfolk's further worries by promising to uphold the law. However, he accidentally mistakes some moles looking to rob the local bank for prospectors and allows them to continue on, even giving them equipment, and even shows them the direction to the bank. The next day, word of the bank robbery spreads. Rango leads a search party through the underground tunnels that crisscross below the desert. The group then finds a large pipe and follow it out into the desert, where they find the bank manager Mr. Merrimack dead. Rango leads them with a short prayer to honor Mr. Merrimack. Some distance off, they find the moles with a covered wagon with what appears to be the water jug that once sat in the bank. They strategize a plan to get the water bank. They get closer to them and scare them with their rifles, but they showed no fear, thinking that the mole family are only 3. A dozen come out of the soil and surround the search party. Chaos breaks out and everyone runs. The group manages to take off with the covered wagon, but not before the moles and the rest of their underground brethren give chase flying on bats. A chase is given with each of them shooting at each other with their weapons. However, during the chase, the covered tarp on the jug comes undone, and the bottle is found to be empty. One of the moles that brought the jug to his father claims it was empty when he found it, but the townspeople assume the moles made off with their water. The group proceeds back to town and disappointed because they came back with no water. The 3 moles are returned to town for a trial, but the now apparent lack of water has the rest of the town worried. Meanwhile, Rango has come to suspect the mayor even more. When the mayor gets wind of Rango's suspicions regarding him, he sends his men to find Rattlesnake Jake. Jake has been told the stories that Rango has mentioned. He came also to scare Beans to sell his land to the mayor. He finds Rango and mocks him on his lie stories, and even challenges Rango onto a showdown, and removes all the bullets in the gun, except one. Rango is given the weapon. Jake looks at him and tells him that he has no killer eyes, and Rango is not able to shoot him. He exposes Rango's fake story and gets Rango to confess that everything he has said is a lie, including the death of the Jenkins brothers, which were actually killed by Jake. Jake throws him out of town and tells him not to come back, claiming that now he owns the town. Rango then walks out of dirt, disgraced. He eventually makes his way back to the 2-lane highway. He attempts to cross it like the armadillo from before and manages to make it across before collapsing. Unconscious, he is carried over the sandy terrain where he encounters the Spirit of the West. The spirit gives Rango some more courage, telling him that the deeds make the man, and that he should think about the people he left behind. He is then helped along by the armadillo, his midsection now restored, and some moving cacti. They reach the top of a crest, and down below, see a large city, Las Vegas. Nearby is an emergency valve that appears to have been cut off. It soon makes sense what the mayor is planning. He intends to make the town of dirt into the large city below. Rango had also heard that the mayor had been buying up lots of land, but that Beans was one of the last holdouts. Rango then returns to dirt with a plan. He confronts the mayor and Rattlesnake Jake, who are attempting to coerce Beans into signing over the title to her property by threatening her. Rango challenges Jake to a duel. Jake comes out without hesitation and ready to duel with Rango. They approach each other in a slow cowboy way. Rango had a plan to wash away Jake's, and at high noon, the armadillo and the cacti open the emergency valve, and water floods throughout the town, distracting Jake's. Jake is then tricked with the moles ridding bats and imaged a figure that looks like a hawk. Jake gets scared and hides himself, but soon realizes that it was a trick and shoots them of the sky. Jake comes across Rango and he is put at gunpoint. Jake provokes Rango, but this time he sees the killer eyes in him. Beans is taken hostage, however. In the wake of Beans possibly being killed, Rango surrenders, and the two are placed in the bank's vault, where the mayor attempts to drown them. While this is going on, the mayor's men then turn their guns on Rattlesnake Jake, with the mayor confidently speaking of how his type will soon be a distant memory. In the water bank, Beans kisses Rango and accidentally swallows the bullet that was in Rango's mouth. She starts to drown, and Rango goes after and saves her by squeezing her stomach. The bullet comes out of Beans' mouth, and the bullet touches the glass, and it cracks open, and the water in the vault washes everyone out into the streets. Rango turns the mayor to Jake. Jake acknowledges what Rango did, before turning on the mayor, dragging him out into the desert, as the turtle pleads for his life. The citizens then celebrate their newfound fortune as the water rains down around them.
What do you think about the movie? If you liked it, let us know in the comment section, and also if you liked the video, like and subscribe to the channel to get more movie recaps. See you next time.